Let's see. Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. I hope you can all hear me. Am I clear? If I'm clear enough, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you very much. So today is day 4. We have been going on this series on how to actually start or design a fintech product from scratch, and we started with understanding the project. If you are being given a brief, you are going to first understand what to do, understand the problem, define the users, do competitor analysis, and then on day 2 we were able to learn about user research, the different types, different research methods, and how to also write good research questions as well. And then day 3 was actually how to now use those research into like user insights, right? So those are the things we have been able to cover within those 3 days of learning. And now we are in day 4 on how to design a fintech product from scratch, right? And day 4 is going to be about user flow, right? We're going to be talking about user flow, and we're going to be taking it step by step, because it's going to be, I want it to be as easy as possible and very understandable for everyone as well, right? Don't take all this like, oh, this is so much, is this what I have to do every time I have a design to do and stuff like that. The truth is, they are going to guide you, right? There are some steps or processes that of course AI can make faster for you, but I am giving us this knowledge with the use of AI as well, so that you can be best positioned, right, to be able to do anything relating to design, both with AI and even without it, right? But like I always use AI in my work, and I also think it's right that every one of us too should do the same, right? So today we're also going to be using ChatGPT, ChatGPT and Figma in creating a user flow. So as I said, welcome to the I mistakenly clicked the wrong one. Okay, I think I was meant to write day 4 here. Yeah, day 4. Okay, so let's go back. So welcome to day 4, guys, once again. And day 4 is all about user flow, right? So I think the first thing, or what we'll be covering today's class, is going to be about what user flow is. That's number 1. What are like the different components of a user flow, and how to prompt with ChatGPT to create a user flow. So let's start with the first one, which is what is a user flow. So it's simple. A user flow is a visual map, right, that shows you steps on how, like steps on what a user is taking to complete a specific task, right? So what that means is just a flow. Imagine a user using your product. What is the flow that they are going to go through to be able to complete a particular task? That's what user flow is, right? That's simply put. Then let's go to the components of user flow, right? So we already understand that a user flow is those step-by-step tasks that a user has to follow through or pass through before he can achieve a specific task, right? That's what user flow is all about. Now, what are the components of user flow? So let's go to the components. Now, I don't know if you have ever seen something like this before, but I'll show you in an example. Maybe that would make you have a bigger picture of what user flow is and what the components are. So first is this. You can see the circle in user flow represents stats, right? So it's when you are actually drawing a user flow and you see someone drawing a circle, it can either be to start or to stop, right? So circle is either start or end, like starting the process or the flow and ending the flow. You use a circle to indicate that. Then the next thing is process. So There's also a rectangle. So a circle is used to indicate start or end in a user flow. And I've said a user flow is simply step-by-step processes that the user must take to achieve a specific task. Full stop. Now I said there are 4 different components that we use in user flow. We have the circle, we have the diamond, we have the rectangle, and this other circle. And the circle is used for what? Start or end. So it's used to start your process or end your process, right? And then the rectangle is used to show that you are currently on a process, do you get, or on a particular screen. And I'm going to be taking us through all these things because it may sound like what's this guy saying, but I'll take us through it so we'll be able to understand it better. And then the next is we have decision. So we use like a diamond to represent a decision. So when a user wants to make a decision, am I going to do this or or am I going to do that, right? That's a decision. We use a diamond to represent that. And then when we want to end the process, we also use a circle. So that is those are the components we are going to be using in today's class: this circle, this rectangle, and this diamond. Do you get, right? So keep that in mind. Now I don't know if any of us has ever seen this before, maybe as an image, or like maybe I've just seen it somewhere, maybe when you were trying to just do some research on design and you have seen something like this, like you see, yeah, exactly, right? You can see this is start or end, this is a user action. You remember this, so this is start, right? The circle, then we have like user action, maybe where the user is currently on, like the process or that action is about to make. Then the decision, am I going to choose this, am I going to choose that, am I going to choose this, right? That is how you represent decision with this diamond. So that's how this also came about. And then we can see we continue to use that till the end of the flow. And then we also have end to mark that this process has come to an end, right? Now we are going to be doing something, which is we are going to be using what's it called, ChatGPT, to create our own flow, right? Because what we want to do now is that we want to be able to create a user flow, and we want to do it with the help of ChatGPT. Now how am I going to do that? Now let's go back. So the first thing is there's the first thing we want to do before creating the user flow is, number one, we are going to use ChatGPT to actually identify all the flows, like all the user flow in the product. So imagine now, we were designing a product called Easy, and we said that product is for young professionals and students, right? Now those are the people you are designing for. Now you have to think about it. What is this app for? Okay, we want people to be able to save, right? So you start to say, okay, what are the possible user flows for this product? Do you understand what I'm saying? Sorry, please mute your mic. Thank you. um you start to ask, what are the possible user flows for this product that I'm about to design? So that's the first thing you have to do, right? We have already been able to define all our problems, define what this app is for, define the users, all those things. We did that before. Now we want to now use ChatGPT to now say, okay, based on this, I want to create the user flows for this product. That's the first thing we'll be doing. So now when we have gotten all the user flows that we need, we're now going to we'll choose one user flow. So in a product, let's say for example, I'm using a bank. I'm using a bank app now, and it's called maybe Access Bank. And on Access Bank, you can transfer money, you can buy data, you can do a lot of things. Now what ChatGPT is going to do for us, the first thing it's going to do is identify all the flows. So the first flow could be, how am I going to transfer money? Do you get? So what is the user going to do before he transfers money? Do you understand? That flow, you will be able to get all the flows of the product. Do you understand? Now the next thing is, we'll now use one flow. We're just going to design one flow for this class. Do you get? there are still other flows, but we are going to design one flow for this class. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you guys are understanding. I hope I'm not too fast or anything. I hope you guys are understanding as I'm going. So we are going to use ChatGPT to generate all the flows that we need to design in the app. That's number one. Number two, for this class, we are going to be using one flow. We'll choose one flow that ChatGPT has already generated, and then we'll now tell it to generate the user flow for us. Do you understand? So the first is telling it to generate all the flows for the product. Then we'll now tell it, okay, this one that you have generated out of this, oh yeah, create a user flow for me. Do you understand? They will now use that to do what we want to do. You get? So that's exactly what we are going to do. So now there's a prompt that is here that I can also give each and every one of us, so that we can also use it in doing our own user flow. So the prompt that I created was this, right? So it says I am designing a mobile fintech app called SwiftServe. So don't forget, I've been using this as an example in the class, while you guys will be doing the example of FinEasy, right, which is for the young professionals. But the one I'm doing in the class is for market traders and small business owners, right? So let's continue. So now the prompt is I'm designing a mobile fintech app called SwiftServe for market traders and small business owners, right? And everyday individuals who need a fast and simple way to receive and send money, right? And then they also need to manage their finances. So now the next thing is, the problem is that many banking apps. So what I did in the prompt is, first we are stating what this product is for, or who the product is for, which is market traders, small business owners, and everyday individuals. Those are the people that are my target audience. The next thing is, what do they need? They need to be able to do what? Send and receive money, pay bills, and manage their finances. That's what they need to do. Do you get? Next thing I now stated was the problem that they are going through. So their problem is that, okay, many banking apps are too complicated and require too many steps to blah 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 blah. This is their own problem. So I've stated the users, I've stated what the product is for, and I've stated the problem they are going through. Now the next thing I now said is, the goal of SwiftServe is to make everyday financial transactions simple, fast, and secure. This is the goal of SwiftServe. Do you get? And then based on this, I now want ChatGPT to identify the essential user flows that should be designed for the MVP of the product. So now I've told you ChatGPT exactly what I want, and I'm going to be sending you guys this exact prompt. But in your own, you change this to FinEasy. You change the users here. Do you get? You change this. You change this. You change this. That's the name of the product, right? What else? You also change the problem that they are going through. You change the goal, and then you send the prompt. So this is the first prompt we are going to be sending to ChatGPT. So let's do that together. So I'm going to copy this prompt, Control C, and then I'll go to ChatGPT and Control V. So now what we want to do first, don't forget, is what we want to generate all the flows that SwiftServe will be needing. Do you get? This is what's going to help us to know what we are going to design. So now we are generating all the flows. So let's go. We are going to click on this, and can you see, for the MVP of SwiftServe, blah blah blah, these are the essential user flows to design. So we can see that it has helped us to generate number one, user onboarding and account setup flow. So we know that, okay, that is something that we have to, that's a flow that we are going to design for when we are designing. Do you understand? We have to do the user onboarding and account setup, right? We also have to do login and authentication flow. Can you see that it is breaking down the things that we need to do, and this will help us also know the kind of screens we are also designing for. Do you understand? Or what we are going to design. With the help of this, we already know that in this SwiftServe, we are definitely going to design screens for user onboarding and account setup, right? We're also going to design screens for login and authentication flow. Do you get? That's what your this is what AI can help you to do. It can help you to know exactly the screens to do when you have been able to send your problem, your goal, and the users of your product. That means you should already have known your problem, the goal, and the users of the product. Because if you don't know that, how would you write the prompt? You get? So now we already know, okay, you have generated all these flows. So we have how many flows here? We have about, let's say, 9 flows, right? Now in each of these we can see that, okay, we have 9 flows, right? So now in each of these, can you see that it has also broken down how this app should go, like what is the flow from point A to point B. So for user onboarding, we have open your app, okay, view the welcome screen, create account or sign up, enter phone number or email, verify OTP, create account. You get, these are like the things, this is the flow, do you understand, before you enter your product. Now we have been able to generate all the flows. Remember, step 1 is use ChatGPT, send a prompt, and generate all the user flow for the product. That's number 1. Now number 2 is, if you now want to draw a user flow for each of these, you are now going to use the second prompt, which I'm going to be sharing, which I'm going to be going to now. Right, let's go to the second prompt. So this prompt 1, and let's go to prompt 2. Prompt 2 is generate a complete user flow for. Now here I can now I'll now input the user flow name. So it could be authentication, it could be whatever I want to get. I'm going to include that when I copy it, and then I'll tell ChatGPT to break the user journey from start to finish, showing the steps that the user should take, the screens involved, user actions, system responses, and all this. And then I said you should make it beginner friendly and easy to understand, right? And then so that a UI UX designer will be creating the flow in FigJam or Figma, then present it in a step-by-step format. So now we are going to copy this prompt to ChatGPT again. So remember, we have gotten our user flow already, like all the user flows that we possibly would need for the design of this product. Now the second step is, okay, we have gotten all these flows. Now we can take each of them and now create a user flow. Do you understand? So let's go. So now let's say I want to use, because we are going to be using FigJam for creating our user flow. So let's first go to ChatGPT and paste this prompt. Control C. So now let's go back to ChatGPT. Go back to ChatGPT. So I copy and then I paste here. So I said generate a complete user flow for. Now here in this place, I'm going to include the user flow name out of all these 9. He has generated 9. So let's go to maybe the first one, user onboarding and account setup flow, right? We can create a user flow for that. So I'm going to Control C. And what's Control V? Yeah. Now I'm going to click on enter. So now ChatGPT will break it down for us how we are going to go from, like on the user onboarding, from point A to point Z. Do you get? So, and what we want to do is to get the user flow for this first user onboarding and account setup. Do you get? Are we all understanding? If you're understanding so far, give me a thumbs up, please. If you're understanding so far, okay. Is there any other person that's understanding so far? Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Nice. Okay, so now we have used the first prompt to generate all the flows. Now the second one is to generate one of all the flows that we have gotten. We generated 9 user flows, right? What ChatGPT gave us was 9 user flows. Now we are now going to use, out of those 9, we'll select one and now generate the user flow for that exact flow. Do you understand? We have generated 9 different user flow. Then we now use we want to get the user flow of exactly one of them. You get? And we can do that over and over and over again. So now let's generate the first user flow for user onboarding and account setup. So what does it say? The first thing is open app. um, Next is what it says. Okay, on when you open the app, you go to the splash screen, then the user opens the suite, blah blah blah. So now we are going to go through this together, and you see how I can actually achieve all this through a user flow. So if someone asks you, oh, do you know how to actually do a user flow, you say yes, because you actually know exactly you know exactly the paths to follow and what to do. Do you understand? So I guess we're going through that together. So let me see. So this is the Figma flow format, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, no problem. So let's start. So now I'm going back to Figma, and for this what's it called, for this user flow class, we're going to be using what's it called, we're going to be using FigJam. So let's go back to FigJam. So now to go to FigJam, this is all you need to do. You come to this plus icon here, right? You click, and then you can see FigJam here, or you can go to your home and then come to FigJam here and click. Can you see that? So that's exactly how we can use FigJam. So now we are going to now be doing the user flow, right? So we're going to be doing the user flow for Swift Serve, right? Swift Serve user flow. Swift Serve user flow. All right. Now, what are we going to do? We are trying to do the user onboarding, right? User onboarding and account setup. So let me just write that here. Okay, so this is what we are doing. So now the first question you ask yourself is, what's the first thing I'm meant to draw, right? We said there. Let me go back to it so that we remember that we have 4 things that help us, that are our components of user flow, right? We said start. So when you want to start, the first thing you need to do is draw a what? Circle. When you now want to go to a screen, you go to what? What's it called? You go to this rectangle. So let's say after I have opened the app, then what do? You see a screen, maybe your splash screen. So it's going to be what? Rectangle. Do you get? And then when you want to make a decision, am I doing this or am I doing that? Do you get? Then you now say, okay, I'm making a decision. Do you understand? So that's what we are going to do now. So we are going back to user flow. Give me a second. I want to type something. Okay, so now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to click on start, right? So to start, you can see this square, ellipse, or circle. So you can click on this like this, then all this come out. So the first thing we are doing is to start. So we click on this, and then we can come here. Can you see that's like a circle that's coming up there? So we click like that, and then we click on we can type start. So now the first thing we are doing is we are starting, right? Start is our first thing, and to start, maybe the first thing you are doing is starting, which is like opening your app. Then the next thing is, let's go, the next thing we want to do is when you open your app, what's the first thing you see? You see more like a screen, right? You see like a splash screen. So you can click on this, sorry, I want to do it this way. There's something I want. Okay, so once you click on that, you can see that the square is coming out, this and this. So when we click on start, that's when we click on maybe open our app. What's the first thing we see? We'll see like our splash screen, right? So it's a screen we see. So we can write splash screen, and we know what a splash screen is, right? The first screen you see, maybe if you're opening the app, you just see one animation, boom, with the name and the logo and all that, right? That's the splash screen. Now after that, what do we do? After you have opened the app, right, what do you do next? Can anybody give me like a response? Just try, just try to guess what's the next thing we are going to do after you open your app and you want to like continue. You have seen the splash screen. What next comes up? Can anybody try? Just imagine that you're using a product for the first time.
You can see the login page.
Exactly. You see?
Sign up page.
Exactly. So now we can now see the login page. Now from there we can go to login page, right? Which is also a screen. And you know why we're using rectangle, right? Because it is what? A process or a screen, right? We use rectangles or squares for process or screens. You get? Now from this login page, there are two options that we can make, right? Number one is we are either going to log in, or we are going to sign up. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are either going to log in or we are going to sign up. I don't know if that's clear. Does anybody understand to that point? Okay, I want somebody else to to answer. Are we clear? Okay, so we are either going to log in or sign up. So from the login page, we are now going to either, sorry, this is going to be, so now we are going to make a decision on, so here we are going to make, so maybe this is like existing accounts, right? Do you have like an existing account? So your decision is either to what? You're either going to log in, like sign in, let me say sign in, or log in, anyone. Let me just write login instead. Log in. No, let me write login the other place. So I use login here. So you're either going to log in, right? How do I write this now in a way that everyone's going to understand? Okay, so there are two decisions that you're going to easily make, right? The first one is, do you have an, let me start from this, do you have an existing account, right? Your answer is either going to be yes or no. So yes here would be that you have an existing account and then you can log in from here, right? Or the answer would be no, that you don't have an existing account, right? And then if you don't have an existing account, then you have to go through the whole process of signing up, or signing up. You see the welcome screen, you sign up and all that. So let's assume that maybe I should write this one here, because I think I'm going to draw it like this. So no is I don't have an account, and then I'm going to sign up, right? And yes is I have an account, and I'm going to what? Log in. You get? So they have asked you now, do you have an existing account? Your answer is yes, you log in. But if it is no, then you have to what? Sign up. So now let's say you want to sign up, right? What's the first thing you see? You see like a welcome screen, where you see like all those maybe you can see like some onboarding screens or whatever, right? So you can see like a welcome screen, right? That's the first thing you see. Then what else? You go to sign up. Or should I just, yeah, anyways, let me just sign up. Right now, after that, what else do you do? Maybe you can now have a question like, maybe after you have included your name, your details, they can now ask you for like your valid phone number or something. So now this is going to be another decision. So don't forget, for squares are the screens, like the screens that you are on, but diamonds are decisions that you are going to make. Do you get? So if your answer is going to be yes or no, or I'm going to choose option A, option B, that's when you draw a diamond. Do you guys understand? If you are using squares, you are on a screen. But if you are using like a valid, maybe if they're asking, okay, is your phone number valid, your answer is either going to be yes or no. So that's a decision. So it's going to be in a what's it called, a diamond. Do you guys understand? Yeah. So that's where we are going to be now. So now we are in the sign up page, right? So from sign up page, they can ask you something like, okay, your phone number, is it correct, or something like that. So maybe valid phone number, phone number. They ask you, oh, is your phone number correct? So your answer is going to be either what, yes, or your answer is going to be no. So if it is yes, let's go here, yes, right? Or it can be no. I don't know why this should, I don't want this to be, okay, no. You see, let's go back again. Can we see how we started? So we started from the start screen, and then we went to the splash screen, and then from there they will ask us, okay, then you see your login page, then you be asked whether you have an existing account or not, right, from your login page. Then you either say yes, I have an existing account, and then you log in. But if you say no, then you what, sign up. And don't forget that we use this because we are actually making a decision. This is a decision point, right? So that's why we have this as a diamond. But here we are going to the sign up screen. Here again we are going to a screen. Here again we are going to a screen. Here now we are going to ask ourselves a question. Oh, is my phone number correct, or is it not correct? Do you understand? So if it is correct and I've been able to sign up and everything, then what happens? um, um, if it is correct, then of course I can go on with the process. But if my phone number is not correct, right, then it will show something like maybe an error. It shows something like an error page saying, oh, your phone number is not correct. Do you understand? But if it is correct, what's going to happen? Then you will now go to maybe the next stage. You know, the next stage that we go to is maybe something like our OTP verification. So we can go to the next stage, which is our next screen. So this one we are going to a screen, OTP verification screen. Do you guys understand so far? So you know, we have started and we have reached this sign up page. From the sign up, they ask us, okay, do you have a valid phone number? If you say yes, we continue to the OTP. But if you say no, it takes us to an error page, and from that error page we have to go back again and start looking for our valid phone number and going on. Do you get? But if it is yes, then we'll continue with our process of trying to enter the app. Do you understand? So now we are now in OTP verification, right? We are now in I don't know, can you guys hear me? What's going on? Oh my god. Can you guys hear me? Hello everyone, can you hear me? Okay. So far, are we good to this point? I want to be able to know if we understand to this point. right? Before I continue, okay, Blessing understands. What about you, Dolapo? Do you understand? What about Som Tochuku? Do you understand? Can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, Pat. Then what about Victor? Do you also understand? Can just give me a thumbs up if you're good. Okay. Um, we can all ask our questions, after the class. So don't worry. If anything is not so clear, we can, go through it again. So now, I've said that we use different things, like different shapes. We have three different shapes. We have this circle, which is for starting or ending. This rectangle or square, which is for showing that you are on a particular screen. And this one is to show that you are actually trying to make a decision. So those three things are what this like, that's what they mean. You get? So if you're seeing something like a diamond shape, you just know that what they're trying to say is you're about to make a decision. But if you are seeing something like this, it means you are on a screen. Do you get? So if you see this again, you know that okay, I'm about to make a decision. Do you get? So that's what each of these mean. And when you're about to make a decision, is either you're doing this or you're doing that. Do you get? Is either it's going to be yes or is either going to be no. Is that going to be successful or is that going to be failed? Something like that. Do you understand? So or even pending. So it could lead to multiple options even from there. So that's exactly what a user flow tells you. So from this, we already know that okay, these are the kind of screens we are going to be designing. Some people don't even include error page in their design, and that goes to say that sometimes it could be that your user flow wasn't correct, or you did not consider um, every possible thing that could happen in your design, because it's possible that somebody's phone number wouldn't be correct. But did you consider that? Some people will just say, oh, let me just design a screen that contains sign up, sign in, whatever, your email, your this and that. You include it and you enter the app. But what about people that may not be able to enter the app? What about people that have a wrong password? What about people that have a wrong phone number? Do you get? If you have a good user flow, you will definitely not miss most of the important screens. Do you get? You may miss one or two, but you can never miss most of the important screens. Why? Because it is included in your flow. Do you understand? So you already know that this has to be designed. Do you get? So now moving forward, right, we are now on the OTP verification screen where you see, oh, we are going to send a code to this number, blah blah blah. And remember that we already confirmed that we have a valid phone number and we have included our phone number, right? Now, from there we now go to the OTP verification. Do you get? Where we now see we are going to send a code to blah 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 number. Now, another thing that can happen when you get to the OTP verification is what? When you write your OTP, it's possible that it's possible that your OTP can either be what? Wrong or right, isn't it? So let's move to another this thing. Here we are going to write, is our OTP, is it correct? Right, I don't know why it's showing like this, but you guys understand. OTP correct, sure. So this is a decision. Now we are already on this screen, but now we are now about to make a decision. Okay, is this OTP correct or not? If it's correct, then we can go on with our app, right? And if we go up with our app or with our flow, where are we going to? We are going to go to a place where they'll say maybe maybe create pin. I'm just saying, for instance, maybe create a pin. Since it's a finance app, they can say okay, create a pin or something like that, right? And then the OTP, this flow we have, when we're already on the OTP, one decision that it can be is that our OTP will be correct, and then we go to a place where we can create a pin, or from there some people just complete their profile and enter, right? And the other one would be what, it is not correct, right? So this one would be no. Okay, so this is yes, Yes. Create a pin, and then this one will be no. What does no mean? If you send a wrong OTP, what will it tell you? Tell you something like, do you want us to maybe resend OTP? Do you get something like that? So we can now have, what's it called? We can have either yes, and then we go on to create a pin, or no, which is resend OTP. Do you understand? Then from there, when we create our pin, they can say, oh, does the pin match, or something like that. Do you get? So that's how you actually go from, um that's how you actually break down every single thing that you need in your product, right? And this is user onboarding and account flow setup, right? I didn't Let me switch to the screen so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. um, don't forget, we had already generated this on on Figma, I mean on ChatGPT rather, and it already broke down this process for us, right? Where we can now say, okay, this is the flow we are trying to make. The first thing is what you open your app. Second thing is, okay, when you open your app, what happens? You either go to the login or you go to the onboarding. Do you get? That is, if you're already like an existing user, you go to the login process. But if you're not an existing user, you go to the onboarding process, right? And then from there, what is the next thing? Maybe they ask you, do you have an account, or not? And then you can now click on login or this. And then here you can see the sign up flow already, the sign up screen. Here it tells us, okay, continue to verification, or this is where I was talking about, is your phone number valid? Do you get? Here you can now continue to validate your verification. That's like maybe going to the OTP process, right? Or it will show one error message saying, oh, your phone number is not correct, right? Can you see how we use this, like all this information here? Can you see that we use all this information here, and we are using it in our flow? Do you guys understand? So that's exactly, um, how you can break each of this. And we are doing user onboarding. So if you wanted to do maybe how to transfer and maybe it's a finance product. So let's say we're saying, okay, how do you transfer money, or the process of transferring money? You go to ChatGPT, tell it to break down the process for you. Okay, what's the start screen? What is the decision making point? What is the um screen I'm going to be on? Do you get? That way it breaks down everything for you, and then you can easily draw it out, because from there you already understand that, okay, start is this one, the splash screen is this one, the login page is this one. This is a decision that a user can make, either to do this or to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's exactly how user flow is. And we can keep going on and on and on till like the end of the process, but I just wanted to be able to break it down for each and every one of us, so that we can understand what user flow is, and the usefulness of all of this. Do you get? How we can actually break this all down. Do you get? And say, okay, this is the decision point, or this is the screen, or this is the process, and all of that. Do you get? So that's exactly how you can actually do a user flow. And we can come again if you want to do another flow, right? And you come here, blah 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 blah, and you go on again, you start again, start, and then you go to another flow. Do you get? So that's exactly how you can have so many flows. Do you get? Like that, like that, like that, like that. So I think this is the time for questions, because I'll also be giving us an assignment, right? But I think now I would want us to um, ask questions. If you're not clear, if there's something that you're still not so clear about, and how to go about it, you can also ask. So yeah, I think I'll start from Som to Chuku, because you said parts of it you were not so clear about it. So I think we can start from you. Yeah, good evening. I can't hear you so clearly, but you may have to increase your voice.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. My first question, I'm just trying to understand where to use the diamonds and the squares. My first question, after after the login page, we have existing account question mark. No goes to sign up. Yes goes to login. That yes login is diamond. Is there any decision there because it's on diamond? Is there any decision there? Or is it because it's on diamond?
Thank you very much for that. Sorry, can you mute? Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I actually did not even know it was a diamond. Thank you for pointing that out. That was actually a mistake. It was meant to be a square. Yeah. Because I was trying to, I think when you, sorry, can you mute your mic? Yeah. I would ask you the question back, but like I'm hearing the sound, like I'm hearing myself. So, I think one thing that happens sometimes is, let's say, let me delete this. So let's say you are dragging. Can you see that once you drag it, it just becomes a diamond again until let's say you drag it slowly and then you now select. So I think at that time I just dragged, like I just tapped on it, and that's why it became like that. Do you get? Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask your questions if you're not still clear about anything.
Okay, thank you. The next part of the question. Okay, when we choose yes. Okay, let me look for it. There was a place where, okay, for example now, the OTP, if the OTP is, maybe for example, the OTP is incorrect, for example, then resend OTP. After resending, I think you are summarizing. We'll still go through the whole process of resending, enter, right? It still has more screens. Resend, after resending, enter OTP, right? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yeah, I do. I do. I want it to finish so I don't cut you short.
Yes. And then maybe that's okay. That's then the other question I have. The error. There was a place I saw error.
Okay.
The error, is it a screen? Error
Yeah,
page. We have it as a screen.
it's more like, okay, for instance, if you,
The valid phone, if the phone number is not valid, would the error page be a screen? Like what will be on the screen on the error page?
okay,
And how, where will it link to after letting them know it's an error? For example, yes.
okay. I think this meeting is about to end, so maybe we should just join the next one and then I'll start from there to answer your question. I think it's just about 1 more minute, so maybe when we join the next one, I'll just start with that and then I'll go to other questions as well. So just give me a second, let me set up another meeting. Um, so we're talking about OTP, Abby? No, error message. Okay, so let me start from there. Okay. So I just sent a new link on the group. So let's leave this one and join the next one. See you guys. This way there's a train into places. Dolapo, what's good? Are you following so far?
Yeah, I'm following you. I've done this in school. This is called algorithm.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. But I understand it though. It's still like similar to what, yeah, you get
okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Why are they
Uh-huh.
not joining?
It,
Sorry,
it's
what's
not
this
called
one?
algorithm.
I didn't hear you.
I said it's not called algorithm in design. I think you've been calling it user flow, but I
Yeah.
think you also call it user flow in design too, in computer science. But I did it as a course algorithm.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Somtochuku, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so yeah, you were asking a question. Can you see my screen by the way? Okay, I think so. Okay. So yeah, we're asking a question concerning error, right? Error page is actually a screen because now let me give you a an example. Let's say you were okay. Let me just use this exact example, which is the valid phone number. Now you are writing your phone number, right? And the phone number you submit while you are trying to sign up, right, is a wrong phone number. Something is going to pop up, right, and say sorry, the it's going to show like an error message. So I understand what you're saying. Maybe the only way it could not be a different screen is if you are just seeing it as a notification, but most times it could be like a whole different screen where you see a pop-up on it. So you can see something like a pop-up modal saying the phone number you entered was incorrect. um, um, Include a correct phone number, blah blah blah, to continue to sign up or something like that, right? So from that process, it just means that that is a different screen. It's taking you to a different page, telling you that your phone number that you included was wrong, right? So you can now have a button there saying, okay, go back to include your correct phone number or something like that. So it's taking you back to the first screen you were. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a screen. Do you understand? So you can start from the valid phone number asking you include your phone number, but then when you include the wrong one, it now takes you to another screen where you see an error message or an error pop up saying, sorry, this phone number you included is not correct. Do you understand? And then you can go back to include the right one. So it's taking you to a different page entirely. You get that's why if you're using products, right, there's always a screen where it shows you that something is not working or something happened or there was an error or something like that. Do you get? There's always a screen. That's a different screen that was designed for that. So you as a designer, when you're also designing, you have to factor that into your design. Don't always just factor the fact that people can enter your product and from there they'll just be doing like clicking all the right buttons and doing everything and including the right details, right? It could also mean that sometimes they can make errors, they can make mistakes, they can write the wrong phone number, wrong emails, whatever it is, and then um, you can from there see like an error message or error page. Yeah, so that's it. But sometimes I wish something was here. But yeah, sometimes too, instead of it being a total new message, it could have this um how do I describe it? You know when you're trying to type an email, right? And they write use use at least one capital letter. Use this, use that. I don't know if you guys remember what I'm saying. I want to use that as an example now. When you're now writing a valid or invalid phone number, it could also pop up under that the phone number is wrong. So it could be like that, or it could be a modal. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys understand. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Or am I speaking too deep? I do you guys understand what I'm saying? Blessing, Daniels, Victor, are you guys clear? Okay. So yeah, that's just basically it. So that's how you actually create user flows. You need to first of all understand what the user flow is, and when you understand that user flows are simple steps that take you through a process. That's as a designer, you are not designing just UI, right? You're also designing experience. And how do you know the experience, or how do you help the user to have a good experience? You have to have a flow, you have to have a pattern in which your app must go. When I click this, this is what comes next. So that means when I'm designing design A, I have to design B because they are flowing together. If I design only splash screen, and then from there I just moved to maybe home screen. From splash screen to home screen, I've missed the whole authentication screens, right? And that is a bad UX because it will affect me, or affect the client's business. Do you get? And you would want to know, okay, what are your users, their details, and all those things. But imagine you as a designer, you skip that process because you didn't include it in your user flow. It's definitely going to affect your business. Do you get? So it's important that you factor this in. So something, yeah, I don't know if you were clear with what I explained, right? It could either be an error page, there could be like an error message pop up coming up, or it could, fall like it will show on a red line saying, oh, wrong phone number, include the right one, or something like that, right? It could be any of them, sure. But sometimes it could be like an error message, error page, different error page. So I don't know if that's clear, and if you have any other questions. Okay. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, I guess not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give us time. Today is Wednesday, right? So I'm going to give us a task, and I think what I'll do is I'll give us time to finish up the task, right? And um, then we can now grade it together, review it together, see kind of mistakes that we did, and correct them. Yeah, but so far I hope we were able to understand what user flow was, how to write prompts, and I'm also going to be sending the prompts to you as well. um, but the truth is, do you know that you can actually use ChatGPT itself to write a ChatGPT prompt? So you can write a prompt for ChatGPT by ChatGPT. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, you can do that. You can. You just need to learn how to prompt, but slowly we'll get into that. But so far, I would send you the exact prompt I use, and then you just change it to fit into your own product, right? And which is fin easy, and then I'll send the task, and we'll all design together, and watch ourselves do great stuff. So I hope so far we have been able to learn how to use ChatGPT and how to also create user flows on FigJam, right, which is on Figma. Yeah. If there are no other questions, then I think we can call it a day. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. That's Obi the King on Obi is the King on YouTube. Then on Instagram, follow the Checkmate community, like, share, comment, follow us, and do everything you need to do. Yeah, and don't forget to keep designing. Right. I wish us all the best. The only way is up. Yeah. I hope we were able to get everything from today's class. Yeah. See you guys in the next class, and hopefully we get to design even much better things, right? So yeah, see you guys. Happy designing, guys, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye bye. Good night. Yeah.